Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here this evening with the candidates for Ward 4 City Council in Hibbing, Minnesota. It's Thursday, August 4th, and the three candidates are going to introduce themselves. We are together for about an hour. Two of the candidates will be advancing to the general election in November. So we have a wide variety of questions for them tonight. I'm sure we're going to probably not play stump the jury, but they have some time to respond, and we'll have time for rebuttals as well. Joining me here as a moderator is Pastor Dan Erickson from Chisholm, and I'm Steve Potts from Hibbing Community College. I'd like to thank Ron Workla and HPAT for recording this, as he has many, many times. The Governmental Affairs Committee for the Chamber has helped us put together questions. I'd especially like to thank the people who put mining questions together for us. Sandy Karnowski was one of those, and other people have put in questions and things for us as well. So we hope to have a good variety of questions for you. We would like you to introduce yourselves to us this evening, and then Pastor Dan will start with questions. So let's go from my right to your left. And
my name is Chris Whitney. I am 45 years old, I think. I've been a Hibbing resident nearly all my life. I was born in Ohio, but my parents were originally from here, and my dad was in the Navy, and then we moved back to the Iron Range in the late 70s, where I've called Hibbing home ever since. Attended Cobb Cook Elementary School, Lincoln Junior High, Hibbing High School, and graduated with honors in 1995. Moved on to Hibbing Community College, where I got a 2-year degree. And then I took a year off because statistics class kicked my butt, and had to rethink what I was going to do in life. And I've always had a fascination and interest in law enforcement, so I enrolled at the HCC law enforcement program. Finished that with honors in a year. Worked a few security jobs out of after graduating in 1999. Then in 2000, I was hired part-time by the Keewatin Police Department, and I became full-time in October of 2001, where I've been ever since. 20 plus years, 21 years. I've been almost the last 6 years serving as chief of police there. I got married to my wife Jessica in 2012, so I'm celebrating 10 years this year. We have 2 children in the Hibbing school districts, Reagan 6 going into 2nd grade this year, and Piper age 8, she'll be going to the Lincoln this year in 3rd grade. We live in Greenhaven. I plan on making my life here, and obviously, and spending the rest of my life here. My wife works in town, my kids are in school, and we enjoy getting out and taking part in everything our community has to offer.
thank you, Chris. And to be completely transparent, I should tell you, I had Chris as a student in 5 classes. He passed all of them, but he's never arrested me yet, so knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Casey Clover. I was born and raised in Hibbing. I'm 39 years old. Went to Hibbing High School, graduated in 2001. I went to college, graduated in like 2007 for the Industrial Mining Technology program. I work out at Mintech. I've been out there for 10 years this November. I'm married to my wife Janessa of 7 years, and we have a daughter, Aurora, who's about 2.5.
Hi, I'm Steve Gerinis. I too am from Hibbing. I will not reveal my age. I am the grandpa of the class, so I can tell you that. I retired in 2012. Prior to that, I graduated from Hibbing High School, so I'm a Blue Jacket. I went to Hibbing State Junior College at that time, so I am a Cardinal. My degree came out of the University of Wisconsin-Superior in business administration, business management with a minor in accounting. In 1975, I was hired at the Tribune as a advertising representative. I was responsible for over 100 accounts, mostly Iron Gate Mall, some downtown, some national, some smaller accounts, mom and pop store accounts. So it was a wide variety of accounts that I handled. In 1978, I became advertising manager and basically handled all the national accounts, all the, like Campbell Soups, things like that. I stayed there until 1999. Then I went to Ranger GM, joined their sales force. My boss allowed me to handle all of the advertising, the internet sales, complete advertising budget, and I then also sold vehicles to individuals, businesses, whatever. So then, like I said, I did retire in 2012. Some of my community things that I have done, I was president of the Kiwanis Club in 1999 to 2000. I was on the Mesaba Medical Foundation board. I do some volunteer work, mainly with AEOA. And my wife and I have been married for 45 and a half years. And I hope to continue for another 45 and a half years, if she lets me. Thank you.
Thank you. And Pastor Dan will take over questioning now.
Okay, the first question we will start with, I guess we're going this way, so we'll start with Chris in this question. What do you see as the three major challenges facing the Hibbing City Council during the next 2 years?
Well, number one, it's number one on my list is getting and attracting more industry and business while still ensuring our current businesses thrive. It's a tough thing to do, and it's a challenge, and you've got to have reasons to draw people to this town and industry to this town. So it's one of my goals is to help get involved and get things done in Hibbing, up and started in Hibbing that will attract these businesses. I'm not professing I know everything about everyone like to wave a magic wand and a Target will appear downtown, but it doesn't work that way, obviously. So I'd like to hit the ground running, get involved with economic development, the chamber, and get that to this town. And that's a big challenge. It hasn't happened much in the last 20 years, so that's one. Two is getting the memorial building expansion done in a cost-efficient way to the taxpayers of the town. I see the beautiful new building that Virginia has, the arena and everything. They have concerts and events there that attract people to the area, and I feel we need to play a little catch-up with that and be able to host tournaments and, like I said, concerts and events and compete with Virginia and Grand Rapids and the beautiful arenas and centers they have there. And it's not cheap, and the memorial building's never going to go away. It's a historic building, just like our high school. So we got to find a way to add on to it and do it in a costly manner. That's not a big burden on the taxpayers. Other challenge is, I would say is number three, is blight and getting the city cleaned up. And with my track record in Keewatin and doing stuff like that, that's one of the areas I think I can hit the ground running and be a great aid to and get something done. So getting the vacant stores and buildings cleaned up and the messy yards, and definitely a challenge, and I'm up to it.
Okay, thank you. Casey, oops, same question for you. What would you see as the three major challenges facing the Hibbing City Council during the next couple years?
Number one would be economic development, trying to create a better quality of life for everybody and trying to create more amenities in town. Just try to help what we have here business-wise, try to strive and expand maybe in the future. Try to do what we can here and expand on that. Maybe the memorial building might be one piece of that to bring some more people into town. Number two would be more access to broadband, more affordable to everyone out in the country and in town. I live on 73 and I only can get satellite internet and CenturyLink, so it'd be nice to maybe get a MediaCom or get a Paul Bunyan in town or something else, especially with more people working from home nowadays and more kids in school online. It would be nice to have the kids have access to everything. And then affordable housing, try to get more of that into town to maybe draw some people in that maybe want to move out of a bigger city for a little bit cheaper rent or price. So that would be the three, I think.
Okay, thank you. Steve, same question for you. What do you see as the three major challenges facing the Hibbing City Council during these next 2 years?
Well, there's a lot more than three, I'll tell you that. The three that I found out through the residents of Hibbing, talking to them, were technology, infrastructure, and safety. The technology end of it would be, we have to keep going as far as broadband, everything like that. We have to keep up with the world. The world is changing. We're not going to have what we had 30 years ago, 30 years from now. That's the past. We have to start moving and living into the future. The other one would be infrastructure, and everybody thinks infrastructure is curbs, gutters, roads, alleys, buildings. It's also, gas lines underneath the ground, water lines underneath the ground. If we have good infrastructure, the businesses that look to expand or relocate also look for that. That's an asset for them. It's something they don't have to expend valuable money on putting in a sewer line or broadbands or anything. It's already there for them. It's one of the things we could do. The next thing is safety. The residents of Hibbing should feel absolutely safe wherever they go. I just saw in the news today another incident at the Mall of America at 4:30. We should be able to go anywhere in this city, and anybody that comes to this city should feel very safe in whatever they do. So I think those are the three main things. There's other things. There's blight, of course. The city is doing things on that already. They've hired or planning on hiring an extra SRO officer. So there'll be two of them, one full-time, one part-time. So that helps. The safety in the school, they're going to get another officer in the school. So things are looking good. It takes time and it takes money. And there are ways that we can achieve that without hurting the taxpayers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. 30 seconds for rebuttal. Go ahead. Is there anything additional that you want to say, Chris, from what you heard, or?
No, we all, I think, have valid concerns and have the same hopes and dreams for the city, and I don't disagree with any of these gentlemen.
Casey?
I got nothing.
And Steve, you got 30 seconds if you want.
Okay, well, the only thing I'd like to add is I would like to clear the ad on the memorial building. It seems like there's a misunderstanding that I am totally against it. I'm not against it. I'm not against anything that will bring economic development to Hibbing, be it small, large, whatever. My concern is that the residents of Hibbing be notified and informed, and that they should not be paying the burden of the cost of that building.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Steve?
Casey, we'll start with you first this time. How would you assess the effectiveness of the PUC?
I guess there's room for improvement there. That sounds like that new general manager's doing a pretty good job there. Got some pretty good ideas, I heard. Obviously, like anything older, probably needs some updating. I don't know if we could do that a little bit more efficiently and make everything run better to lower the prices for everybody. There's room for improvement, obviously. So I think they're moving in the right direction with new leadership, and hopefully them and the union people can work together and make that run as best as possible.
Thank you. Steve, same question. How would you assess the effectiveness of the PUC?
Obviously, everybody's going to say there's room for improvement wherever you are or whatever your position is. I think Luke is doing a very good job as the new head of the PUC. I've dealt with him a couple times. I've had a water line issue for like the 4th time in 10 years. He's been very receptive. It's getting fixed. He was personable. I was able to contact him. He contacted me, and this is all prior to my involvement with the city council, so I'm not getting any favoritism. I'm just a resident. I'm not a politician, like I said before. There's always room for improvement. We can always do a better job. Everybody can do a better job. So I think in general, the PUC is coming around. They had some problems. They are getting better. They're working at correcting their problems. And, everything just takes time. It doesn't turn over overnight. And I think in the long run, the PUC is going to be a big asset for this town. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, same question. How would you assess the effectiveness of the PUC?
Well, like my two opponents said, it's definitely gotten better. I mean, Luke is a good new leader, and I think he's doing a good job. PUC is a slippery slope. I mean, it's just source of a lot of ire for people in this town, with whether it's the squirrel jokes or, like Steve said earlier, the antiquated infrastructure and steam heat, and we got to kind of phase out of that and get with the times. And they're getting on the right track, I think. They got good leadership there. And 20 years ago, we could kind of lay blame, but I'm not here to lay blame on anyone. But it's definitely improved, and there's more room for growth, I believe.
Thank you. Casey, 30 seconds to rebut, if it's something you'd like to add.
No.
Okay. Steve, same thing?
No, I think we're all on the
Chris?
same page.
Good.
Thank you.
I think most of you mentioned this in one of your priorities, but maybe more specifically, how would you promote Hibbing as the go-to place, the go-to location for outside investors? Steve, you get to start.
Okay. First of all, I would explain all the assets of Hibbing. We have a fantastic college system. Now we're connected with the whole conglomerate of them. So that's a great asset. We have a fantastic medical facility. We're connected with the U. We have a lifeline, a life flight that is a huge asset for Hibbing. So those are the two main draws. We have the mining companies. They're outstanding. Great pay, great jobs. They're not seasonal anymore. They're pretty much year-round operations. So I think those three things are your biggest assets. Hopefully, they're businesses that are interested in coming into Hibbing that maybe offer something a little different. I know that being on the HEDA board, we're open to just about anything that comes into Hibbing, whether it's a small mom and pop store or another big box store, we don't care. Anything that's going to bring economic development is wanted. But the thing is, they tell you when they're coming. It's pretty hard to say, we want you to come, you come tomorrow. They don't operate that way. There's some things that are on the hook right now that, you have to sign confidentiality statements and not release any names. But there are some things that are happening in Hibbing. Will they happen today? Probably not. Tomorrow, maybe. In time, they will happen. People have to just be patient and be positive about Hibbing. The biggest asset we have is our residents. And I think if we keep them positive, Hibbing will remain a great place to live in and to stay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Chris, same question to you. How would you promote Hibbing as the go-to location for outside investors?
That's what I'd love to do, and I think there's no one sitting here or anywhere else at this current council table that is anti-Hibbing. I mean, you hear a lot of stuff on Facebook. Council doesn't let anybody in. They're keeping everybody out. That's not true. But you do need to have good leadership, and I think with our new city administrator, I think he's off to a good start. And you got to sell the city. You got to have a good business mind. And, like Steve said, we have great medical facilities here, great schools, great areas to live, great neighborhoods. I know I like living in Hibbing because we have about the only fire department in the area that's paid. And, I mean, you don't have to wait for an all-call guy to run out of their house and jump in an ambulance and come save you if you need it. I'm blessed. I always say I'm so glad I live in Hibbing because we have 24-hour, 7-day-a-week emergency services. That's what you got to sell. You got to sell what you have and build on that. And I think with teamwork, and I don't think, like I said, no one's against anything coming in here. I don't believe that at all. We'll take what we can get, top to bottom, and you just got to sell your city. I'm not 100% knowledgeable on how you do that, but I know there's trade shows. You sell your city plan. You go to these. You hand them your disc or your zip drive. This is what we got to offer, and maybe a Shopko or a Lowe's or a Target, and that they'll come eventually. I mean, you just don't call up and say, "Hey, Sam's Club, you want to come build here?" I mean, they'll come, but you just got to sell all the pluses that the city has to offer. And I think we got good leadership in right now to do that, and I'd love to be a part of that.
Okay, thank you. Casey, the same question. How would you sell Hibbing as the place to go, the go-to place for outside investors?
I think if, maybe for like the younger generation to have more affordable housing, more modern housing for people to come into might be a draw, because there's so many jobs around town, in the area even, and there's not a lot of housing for people to live in, so that might be one of the issues, that people aren't moving here or don't want to move here. I think the city council does a great job already. You know, all of our small businesses and everything does a great job. We have a ton of, you know, outdoor activities we can offer, and just try to, like these guys said, you know, just show them what we have to offer, and hopefully do some, a few things to make it better for people to want to move here, you know, and stay here.
Okay, thank you. Chance for additional comments, Steve?
No, I think I'm pretty good, thank you.
Chris?
Well, yeah, one other thing I forgot to add, like, we're the biggest city in Minnesota land-wise, right?
That's right.
I mean, we got a lot of area to unused, untapped potential to build and expand, so I think that's also a great selling point for the city.
Okay. Casey?
Nope, that's
Okay, thank you.
It's been mentioned already, but it was one of the questions that several people told us to ask. Chris, we'll start with you. How should the planned expansion of the memorial building be handled?
Well, as I said before, as cost-effective as possible. I think the voters should maybe have a say in it, how they want it done. I trust our city leadership and our city engineers and administrators to make the right decisions as far as acquiring land. I know there was a lot of talk and controversy about how some of the houses were acquired and the price paid for them. I'm not going to get into that, whether I disagree or agree with any of that, but yeah, it needs to be done so it's not all on the shoulders of us as the tax. I mean, I pay, obviously we all do, we live here, we pay taxes, and we don't want to foot the bill for it, for everything. So I'm hoping all grants, loans, bonding, foundations, every option possible should be explored to make it the most cost-effective and the least amount of burden to the taxpayer. And like I said, if it needs to be, the people should have a say in it as well. If it needs to be a ballot issue, so be it.
Thank you. Casey, same question. How should the planned expansion of the memorial building be handled?
I agree with Chris, you know, have the citizens more involved on whatever plan they present, A, B, or C, or D, or whatever. Try to make it as cost effective for everybody. You don't want to spend a ton of money and it not benefit, everybody. Just getting everybody's input to what they want in there so the whole community can use it. If it's a playground for kids or walking track, new sheet of ice, pickleball court. That's a fastest growing sport in the country, one of them right now. Just kind of go with what everybody decides and go from there. I think that would be the best option.
Steve, the same question. How should the planned expansion of the memorial building be handled?
I agree with both of the other candidates. It was a strange situation that I found myself in, because I came in March, and I think we voted on it shortly after to acquisition the homes that were out there. I guess my problem I had with the whole situation was, I felt that the homes may have been worth it, but I just think when you buy something, let's say a vehicle or a house, you don't buy one room or the front seat of a car, then you buy the back seat. You buy the whole car or the whole home at once. And now there's a couple homes that aren't sold yet. It happened before where a portion of Hibbing's residential was sold, except for one home. You wanted $1 million, they lost the whole deal. So, that was my problem with that. I think we should build a memorial building. I think it would be great. I think we should find out what the people want. I don't think we should go after fad things. Pickleball is great. It's the fastest growing sport, like Casey said. However, golf 10 years ago was the fastest growing sport, and that's really died off. So we got to be careful. We have to, I think, what Chris mentioned is put it to the voters. Maybe do a referendum or get some definite input as to what they want. And we have to make sure that the structure we have is sound. We just had a fire there, took out the kitchen and the curling club. Some people that were in the building didn't know that it was even on fire. So there are some things that should be done to the existing infrastructure, City Hall, the library, the memorial building, first. But I think the memorial building expansion should be a go. Thank you.
Okay. Chris, 30
Good.
seconds for additions.
Good.
Okay. Casey?
Same.
Steve?
I'm good, thank you.
I think all city councilors would like to be able to provide more and better services for the city without raising taxes. So do you see any efficiencies that could be put into place to control or reduce city spending? Are there any ways that money can be saved from the current budget that could be utilized in other places or taxpayer relief? And I believe it is Casey's turn to go first.
I think we do a pretty good job budgeting in the city. We have a lot of good essential services that we need to keep. Maybe one way is to get some more state aid to help burden the taxpayer. And obviously, if we can get more people into town, we can get more of a tax base to help everybody out. So I think that would be a couple of ways to do that, possibly.
Okay. Steve, any way that money can be saved in some ways to reallocate it in a better way?
That's a tough question. We're in negotiations right now with the city as far as the operating levy, which is going to be coming up soon. The amount of taxes the city will charge each resident. We had our first meeting a couple weeks ago. The department heads are really doing a great job. They're looking at ways that used to cost a lot of money. Now they're looking at ways that Maybe it won't cost as much, it's gonna be more efficient, and that's what we gotta do. We gotta spend the money we get more wisely, and they are doing that unbelievably well. The other thing we have to do, again, is hopefully we'll get more state aid. There's been some holdups on that, and rightly so. I'm not gonna say who, but hopefully it does come down to the cities. They need the state aid. Luckily for us, we do have the taconite companies paying tax, some monies into the tax. There are some things that we are applying for grants, but the people of Hibbing have to realize, Hibbing, like Chris said, is the largest city in Minnesota. Not population, but area-wise. So when a bridge goes out 14 miles down the road, it's still in Hibbing. It's not in a suburb. It's Hibbing proper. And we have to take care of it. So you send 3 or 4 trucks down there, well, what happens to the Howard Street windrow? Well, it sits there for a couple of days. It just happens to happen. People have to be patient, and I think the city and the city councilor and the department heads for each, whether it's building and planning or anything else, road constructions, they're all looking at their proposals, and it's a long process, but it's got to be done, and they're working hard to curb the expenditures that they have to come up with every year. So they're working on it, and hopefully it'll come down to the point where, you like to see no taxes. It's not a reality, but it's a possibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Chris, same question. And any way to improve efficiencies, make some cuts, save some money to utilize in other ways?
Oh, well, I do have a little bit of experience of this with the budgets and what I had to deal with as a department head in Keewatin. And I pride myself on keeping a tight budget and spending smart, and you always got to do that. Buy what you need, not what you want. And yeah, you got to keep up with the technology and not make sure you're not using outdated equipment, and you're using your time and money and staff most effective ways you can. I'm not in favor of, say, robbing Peter to pay Paul, taking from one department to pay for another. And I think, Hibbing's population has obviously dwindled over the last 20 years, but it's still the same size. And for the manpower and the crews and the people we have, I think I have no complaints about our services that we get, our sanitation, police, fire. They're doing the best they can and a great job, I think, at what they have to work with. And you always got to explore every option, and that's looking for funds and grants and relying on state aid and taconite tax, and we get that in Keewatin too. So it's always got to make sure the mines are humming and keeping them going. But you got to get creative, and I'm a taxpayer. If it's going to the right thing, I don't mind paying taxes, and that's our essential services. And like Steve said, this is a big area, and sometimes it takes a while to get every alley plowed, and the snow knocked down the medians in town when we have big storms. But I think our crews do a great job. It's just got to be efficient, using the right equipment, explore all options before you think about any kind of tax increase.
Okay. Casey, any additional comments?
No, thanks.
Listen, Steve?
No,
Or
thank you.
Chris? Thank you.
I believe this one goes to Steve first. Steve, what would your biggest supporters say is your greatest strength as you run for office?
I didn't know I had any, but I guess, if I don't know, I think it's my ability to listen. Over the years, 30 years that I sold products, that was my way of getting a raise, was to sell more. So you have to listen to people, to what they want. And actually you have to decipher that from what they need. So they may want the biggest car in the world, but they don't need it. There's only the 2 of them. Or they may want to sell their truck to get a better mileage car. Well, it's gonna cost them X number of dollars, they can take that money and put it into gas, keep the old vehicle and keep going. And have the same, not the same, transportation, but they would have transportation. So I guess the biggest asset I would think I have is listening, and then once I listen, I act upon it. I don't sit and say, well, let's see, we could do this, we could do that, or we could do this, or I could have him do that. I try to do it the best that I know how. Whether I have to go get some more information from another person, I'll get the information, I'll relay it on to them. If they have any more concerns, I will definitely look into it. I think the people, they're my boss. The residents of Hibbing is basically all my bosses. I listen to them, I report back to them, and that's just an employee. So I guess I'm a good listener and an employee. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, the same question. What would your biggest supporters say is your greatest strength as you run for office?
That I am approachable, open-minded, dependable, honest, trustworthy, very community-orientated. Keewatin is one of my biggest supporters. They, not to toot my own horn, but they kind of like me over there. So we've done a great job over there, and I enjoy getting out, talking to the people, listening to their concerns, treating everybody the same, treating everybody fairly, and returning calls, emails, and generally showing that I care with no matter what their concern is, whether I agree with it or not. I'm there. If I'm elected, I'm there for the people. I'm not just for my ward, but the entire city. I want to make every single resident feel that they're counted and a part of this city and how it's run and their needs are being met. So I would, the people that do like me, there are some out there, I think that's what they would say.
Thank you. Casey, same question. What would your biggest supporters say is your greatest strength as you run for office?
Oh, I guess kind of like these two gentlemen said, just being available for people to call you or whatever to try to fix an issue. Some people just appreciate you giving them a call back, saying, I don't know how to fix it, but I'll try to find somebody that can help me out, or I'm willing to work with anybody. I mean, don't know all the answers. I'm not the smartest person ever, but I'll work hard at trying to get the answer that everybody needs, and just be respectful to everybody. I think people appreciate that. No, I think that's about it.
Thank you. Steve, 30 seconds for any additions?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Chris?
I'm good.
No,
Casey?
thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Want me to do the follow-up on that one? The other half? Sure. Okay. So Steve just asked you about what your supporters would see as the biggest strength. What would, I'll ask it this way. What would you see as the biggest challenge for you being a city councilor? It's really important to be able to recognize the things that are not that we're good at, but maybe that are difficult for us and that we need to work on. And because that's the only way you're going to improve. So maybe what's something that maybe you should be working on individually to just be a better counselor? And I think, Casey, who's first? Chris.
I think me.
Yeah.
Worst question, I gotta go first.
Shouldn't have spoke up.
Yeah. So, it's hard to make it not sound bad here, but I'm not necessarily not getting my way or agreeing with everybody. I'm having a tough time how to put it into words. Being told no. I mean, I can be told no, obviously, but if I have something I really want to do and I find resistance, I'm not going to be hostile or anything, but I kind of sometimes won't let it go. And that's usually, can be good as well, because I'm passionate about things, but it's not saying I don't work well with others, but I'm going to stick to my guns on a lot of things. And if you can sway me, you can try, but I'm usually not that easy to sway, so I don't know if that's a bad trait or not. But sometimes when I get my mind set on things, I want to do it and get it done, but not by any means necessary or anything weird like that. I don't know what rabbit hole I'm going down here, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not to sound arrogant either, but I work well with others. I mean, well, the only thing I can really say is sometimes my time is stretched a little thin with 2 little kids and full-time job and my commitments to Keewatin and family and all that. And God bless you retired guys.
Thank you. Keep working.
Every day's Saturday.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but then that's probably going to be my worst answer of the night. And it's hard for me to kind of say anything negative about myself. I think it's 99% good.
Okay, well, I'm supposed to ask the same question, but maybe it wasn't a very good question. we'll try. You might get an easier one now, Casey. So again, just as far as being a city councilor, what would be for you a challenge? What would be a hard part of that? What would you have to work on to do a good job, do you think?
I
That's
guess.
a better question.
Yeah, I guess not having a ton of experience in city government. I know a few of the guys on the council or past people on the council, so I, reach out to them and try to get some better help on what I need to do better. Or I guess I'm just gonna try my best to do what I think is best. I have the best interest in this town. Hopefully I can retire here and my daughter can live here, and I just want to make it better for everybody. I'm not opposed to asking for help. That's fine by me. Try to work with everybody. Thanks.
Good, thank you. Steve, a similar question. Anyway, what do you think is the hardest thing, the most challenging thing about being a city councilor, something you need to keep working on?
Well, this comes from the person that probably knows me the best, is my wife, and she said when I told her that I was considering, I think it was running for HEDA or even taking this position in fulfillment of the prior councilor's election, she said to me, if you're gonna go for it, that's fine, but you have to take anger management classes. So, it's worked out well. I haven't gotten angry with anybody. I haven't taken it in the alley or anything. But the hardest thing that I have is dealing with the negativity of people. Hibbing was so much better 30 years ago. Well, somebody said, I think it was maybe Governor Walsh said, in 50 years, 80% of the jobs we have right now won't be here. They'll be outdated. And that's what happened. Hibbing and Range, everything has gotten outdated. You can't live in the past or you'll miss the future. So what you have to do is don't be negative, be positive. There's always a good side of something. No matter how bad it is, something will come out of it. You just have to believe in it. And that's where I have the biggest problem. So if anybody said, that I get a little upset with people, it's because they were negative. Positivity builds.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. 30 seconds if you want to amend or say something more. Chris?
Steve made a good point. I mean, dealing with, I don't know how active you guys are on social media, but the
Yeah.
constant bashing is
Yep.
terrible thing. Everything's bad, and it's hard not to just get in those people's faces. And
Right.
so you got to have some. I mean, I obviously would like to do that to a lot of people in my job, but you got to have some restraint, and you got to listen to them, and then you can disagree with them. But it's hard not just to go off on them. So good point, Steve.
Thank you.
Casey?
I got nothing.
Steve?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. You guys did okay on that.
No more hard ones.
I'm so glad I asked the positive one and left the other one for Dan. I'm sure some of you have been following another election that's going on, primary, and that is for the county sheriff. And there seems to be some disagreement among the candidates of what the job of sheriff actually is. I'm curious, the three of you, if you had to write a job description for a city council person, what do you see the job as? Casey?
For me? Yes, just trying to serve the people of the city the best that you can. Be open-minded. Just try to do whatever duties you have to do, and that's kind of a tough one, you know. It's hard to write a job description on anything, you know. I think that's about it.
Basically, what do you see as your job, I guess I'm asking. Steve?
I think on the side of the patrol cars, it's to protect and serve. I think a city councilor's job should be to listen and respond. If people have a concern, it should be up to the city councilor to listen to their concerns, act accordingly upon their concerns, get them answers to all their concerns, not just in Ward 4, but the whole city, because we are, you work better as a group than you do as an individual. Things get done. It's not a burden on one person. So I think what we have to do is, city council all has to work together to get to accomplish one goal, and that's the betterment of Hibbing. That's the bottom line. So we have to sit back and listen, and then again, we have to act, and it'll all be for the betterment of Hibbing. You can always build a better town with everyone involved. Thank you.
Chris, same question. What do you see as your job as a council person?
Well, short way to put it would be walking, talking, complaint/suggestion box. Taking what the people's concerns, complaints, and suggestions for betterment of the city and taking them under advisement, plus going along with your own ideas of what you think will make this city a better place to live in. And in the job description, you should be able to work well with others, get along well with others, not have your own personal agenda or axe to grind, and you should be a servant of the people of not only your ward, but of whatever town, city, whatever you're elected to govern or supervise or serve. And you should be able to do it with an open mind and be ready to work well with others and take others' complaints and suggestions well under advisement and do the best you can for yourself, your family, and all your constituents.
Okay, thank you. Casey, any additions?
No, thank you.
Steve?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Chris?
Good.
Yeah, I think first of all, I have a question for myself and perhaps for some of the people watching. What is Ward 4? Where is Ward 4 in Hibbing? Steve, I'll let you answer that since you represent it.
I'll tell you that it's the biggest ward in Hibbing. It's kind of like 90% or something, it seems like. It runs north, south, east, and west. It goes into Greenhaven on one side of First Avenue, not on the other side of First Avenue, but on the inside of Greenhaven, not on the outside of Greenhaven. It's all over. It's a big area. And so when you start, where is it? It's all over. And unfortunately, it's a big area, but it shouldn't be, none of the wards should be classified as A or B or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. It should be the city. Where is the city of Hibbing going? And that's what we have to decide. Ward 4, it's a huge one. And it used to be 4A and 4B, now it's all 4. The redistricting was done a few years ago and could have been done better, yeah, maybe not, I don't know. But it's a big ward. So you can't really say what the boundaries are unless you see a map. Maybe you should Google it or whatever, but it's a big ward, it's hard to explain it.
Casey or Chris, do you have anything to add about the nature of your ward?
Go ahead, Casey.
I think it goes to like wherever the Keewatin border is. I know it goes like old 169, all the way to South Town Line. Then I think it cuts over on Bunker, I want to say. Comes up, like he said, you know, one side up First Avenue is, this side is. I think kind of my understanding of the ward thing was so people could have a rural part and a, you know, in-town part was my understanding of it. That's why I think they did it that way.
Chris, do you want to?
Well, you start at 31st Street and 7th Avenue, go west, all the way down Ansley Road, and it jogs down over to Park Place, that area, and 7th, it goes down through, I don't know what that ditch is called, that's like across from Copcook Grocery, kind of cuts that one over to 39th, comes up to 1st, goes down 1st, the east side, or the west side is Ward 4, east side is not. It jogs down Bunker Road, same, east side, west side are both different. So all the way down 73, all behind Copcook, the west side of Hibbing, Pintar Road, all the way out to the first old 169. The other old 169, closer to Keewatin, is the Kelly Lake Ward, whichever ward that is, I can't remember. But yeah, it's big.
Okay.
It's big.
Well, I think we had good answers, and I still have no clue where it is, but that's okay. Hopefully, the voters will.
The map is on the Hibbing,
Yes, it is.
Hibbing city page.
I did find it.
I needed to look it up and print it out myself.
Okay, it's time for our closing statement. I think Steve goes first, or is that where we are in timing?
That's fine.
Sure.
I'm okay with that.
Steve, Chris, Casey, each of you have 2 minutes just to close out why the voters should consider voting for you.
First of all, I'd like to thank Steve Potts, Pastor Dan, the Chamber, Government Affairs Committee for hosting this, putting it out to the public. Hopefully the public will get some information on us three, and whether they vote for me or not, they have to vote. Like I said earlier, you can't change things if you're silent. And of course, I'd like them to vote for me. That would be an honor. I'd like to continue serving the people of Ward 4 and the city of Hibbing. I just feel that the voters have to make a decision, and they have to be educated. And the best way to get educated is for you guys, which you do a great job of doing, hosting these, getting our views out to the public so they can make an educated decision, not an educated guess. Hopefully, primary is coming up on Tuesday. Hopefully they all get out and vote. And even though it is a midterm, it's not a big election, but it's still a big election for the people that are running. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Chris, 2 minutes for you.
Well, again, thank you for hosting this. Good way to get out our opinions. I would love to get every vote possible. I understand if people don't, but your vote would mean very much to me. Got to get out on the 9th, like Steve said, primary. A lot of people don't know about the primary. You got to go out there and vote, make your voice heard. I think my interests and my ideas are good. I'm not saying these guys are bad. I think we all have good intentions for this city. It's just, I guess, up to personal preference. I think my experience in leadership in government and running the police department in Keewatin, granted it's a small town, but I'm exposed to it. I know how it works. I know how to get some things done. And all I want is the betterment of the Hibbing, for Hibbing. I mean, I want it to grow. I want it to get back to the jewel of the Iron Range that it once was, the hub of the Iron Range. I'm invested in this community, lived here almost all my life. My kids go to school here. I want more for them to do. I want more Parks and Rec. I want more kids' activities the way there used to be. I want to explore developing and expanding Carey Lake and making Hibbing a tourist destination, a go-to place, and where someone will graduate from our beautiful high school and want to stay, or someone want to come from that wasn't from the area, like our city administrator is, and make this their home. And I don't have all the answers. I can't wave a magic wand and bring us back to the glory days, but I think I could do a good job working with others on the council as well as other departments in the city to make this a place that people that don't really know about Hibbing would be proud to call their home.
Thank you. And Casey, your final statement.
I'd just like to thank everybody for setting this up and inviting us all here. I wanted to run because I want to try to be more involved in city government, try to, be more involved in the community more. Like I said, I'd like to better this city, to try to make it a place to where my daughter might stick around and here, and hopefully maybe I can retire here, and just looking for an opportunity. I'd appreciate a vote, and I'd just like to try to prove myself that I can do the job, and if I'm doing a bad job at it, come tell me and I can improve on it, and just looking for a shot. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And thank you tonight to our three candidates for being willing to come and discuss some of their thoughts and ideas. Again, just a reminder, the primary election is next Tuesday, August the 9th, and two of the three will be moving on to the general election. So for those who are residents, it's an important time, and there's a lot of other things on the ballot as well. So get out and vote on Tuesday, August the 9th. And again, on behalf of Steve Potts and myself, we'd like to say a special thank you to Ron Workala and Hibbing Public Access Television, who are so great at being willing to do this and giving people the opportunity to learn about candidates that are running, and so people can be, like Steve said, to be informed voters, not just guessing, but really know something about the people for whom they're voting. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.